Okay.
My name is Jonathan Nasco. I'm class of 2000 at Scranton High School. And we're here both because of what I've heard and what has happened with his band classes. Now, my band was my concert and marching band was one of the biggest and most successful in this town. We had over 300 kids in concert band, and we had 250 kids in our marching band. We ran up and down the East Coast, winning awards everywhere. Well, now my son told me he gets into middle school and they're teaching him everything that he learned back in kindergarten and not giving him instruments. Now, his elementary school teacher, Miss Seacole, and my high school band teacher, Mr. Frew, along with Miss Fallon and Mr. Roditsky back then, gave us that passion to do what we do, to make it what we love. And anybody that's been in band knows, band is band. It's not about what color, it's not about what race, not about anything else. A band is a family, and it's a strong family. And what I don't understand is why you've taken kids backwards and not giving them that chance to become the next Mariah Carey, the next Kane Brown, because you're throwing them down back to an elementary level and not helping them progress through their education. And I'll give you to my son so he can explain more of what he's did to try to get this going.
I'm Jonathan Nasco. I go to South Scranton Intermediate and I go to 6th grade. I started a week yesterday a petition online and throughout my school. I have progressed. Online has 261 signatures so far. At school, there is 106 people signatures so far. I did this for because in elementary
Is there a petition there?
Yeah, petition. I have a copy.
Or I'll sign it. He does have, keep going. 107. You keep going out. My name's a long name.
So far, I've been a band student since 4th grade. When doing this, I enjoyed it. Every 4th grade I had band Wednesdays, 5th grade I had them on Thursdays. I used to always go to school happy because I knew band, if I didn't have a good day, I could express my feelings there with the percussion. It's not only...
You're a percussionist?
Yeah.
With myself.
Well, I don't think it's right how they took it away. And how they took library. Well, when I started this, I was nervous because I didn't think anyone was going to be on my side. But thinking I have teachers that help me with this, Miss Walker. Miss Ferguson also helped me with this. It's just, I went into where you get the show around where your classes are. I went into, I'm ready for band, I'm ready to secure, I'm ready for concerts. Finding out, I got told there's nothing. I was not excited. It just drained me down. It was really sad for me because I had a lot of people in band when I was in elementary. I went to McNichols. We went to a lot of, I'm a band fest kid. I went to band fest and we had, I think, 100, maybe 200, I don't remember. And I was so happy because there's hours of training, practicing, and making friends while doing it. That's the best part of this. While doing this, you're making friends. You're not only having fun, yes, you are having fun, but you're also making friends while doing it. If you don't know someone and you're doing it with them, you're gonna make friends. good buddies like I did with my friends. I know a lot of people who wanted to bring band back, because also my dad was a band. Maybe a marching band was a big thing. Well, I want to bring that back. I know what we're learning now was I learned back in, as we say, first grade. Well, what I'm going to forget is what I got taught about percussion. We're having that 3-year gap from 5th through all the way to high school. I think, well, I have something that I had kids help me write. Can I see the clipboard, Dad? We, the students of South Scranton Intermediate School, we would like the orchestra, band, and chorus to return to the middle school. We enjoy the music programs in elementary school. We'd like to continue them in high school. It isn't fair that we cannot participate in them in 6th through 8th grade. Please bring them back.
Who wants to go next? I mentioned it joking. One time I had to speak right before President Obama, and I was like, oh. Go ahead, fire away.
I am not President Obama, but I have met him, and I know why you'd be nervous. My name is Rosemary Boland, and I am the president of the Scranton Federation of Teachers. I especially want to thank you. We're talking about music because, as the Auditor General said, his son is a musician, and this, as I told him earlier tonight, my nephew is going to his recital this Saturday night because he's a music therapy student at Marywood. So don't give up on that dream. So, most of us in this room are the Scranton School District. Our students are here, our teachers are here, our parents are here, our parents are here. And we are one of the strongest communities in this state, if not this nation. We'll stand up for our students, ourselves, all of the time. It doesn't matter anymore. In this town, we don't give up. We will not give up. And we're not going to give up the fact that we feel lousy going into work every day. A year and a half we're without a contract in this town. And everybody keeps saying there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. There's never been money since I started in this job. Never. And every 3 years or 4, there's never money. I don't know what happens in between when they have money, but there's never money. We all know what the root of this problem is. We know where the problem lives, who's sucking the lifeblood out of our district. And many districts across the state are suffering the same plight. We have in our district 80% plus poverty rate. We have 38 languages in this district. 38. And the teachers and the paraprofessionals go in every day and try and work with that. We have a United Nations here. We have students who just came to this country from the Congo and settled here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Imagine the climate change. It's unbelievable. When I graduated from this school, Central High School, in my class, there were 2 young girls. They were juniors. One of them became the Moscow bureau chief for CNN. At this school, we studied Russian, German, Latin, Spanish, because it was offered. But the 1 year that we had a Russian, they decided, the district decided in its genius to cut it. So our Russian teacher tutored in the morning these two girls. They were twins, the Doherty sisters. And one of them, both of them actually, scored perfect scores on the SATs in Russian. One of them became the CNN Moscow bureau chief. Not so many months ago, when our Russian teacher passed away, Mr. Peregrine, Jill Doherty wrote an article in the Scranton Times about her teacher and the sacrifices he made to make her life possible. Teachers make sacrifices every day in this town. We buy clothes for our students. We buy underwear for our students. We buy shoes for our students. We buy food for our students. We give them canned goods, food to take home every day of the week. People think they're going to beat us. No, they're not. No, they're not. Does Harrisburg think they're going to beat us? If they do, they better wake up to that. This town, a few years ago, had 25% approximate non-taxable properties. Now we're up to 40. So how do we survive that? Properties we can't tax, on top of all the other mess we have here. We've had school board meeting after school board meeting after school board meeting where teachers in this district stood up and told the truth and heard the sounds of silence. We still are hearing the sounds of silence. I'm one of the two teachers who was in the room the night that gentleman became a school director. I read in the morning paper, I guess I don't count. I was told I'm not a public person. Somebody needs to look up those words. I live in Scranton, I own my home here, and I pay my taxes here, and I went to school here. I go to church here. And we will not be demoralized, and we're not giving in. We will not quit. If that means the 900 families that I represent have to get aboard buses and travel to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to make the deaf hear, we will do that. And I'm not just the president of the Scranton Federation of Teachers, I'm the executive vice president of the state AFT Pennsylvania. We can do that too. Because it seems to me the poorer districts are the districts getting beat up. It's not the affluent districts getting beat up, it's the poor districts where families can't express themselves in English. 38 languages are here. Does anybody in this room speak Swahili? I don't, and I was a language major. So, we intend, this union of ours, we intend to share with our community what we know. If we have to hire translators, we're going to do it. But everybody better beware, because our kids count. They count as much as the kids in Philly, Chester, Upland. I don't care where you live. I don't care where your zip code is. Our kids count. And they're going to get their by God, they're going to get books from libraries so they can read too. Everybody talks about literacy, they're full of it. They don't care about literacy. They don't want literacy for our kids. That's why there were people like my grandfathers in the coal mines, to keep them there. Because books set you free. And if anybody thinks our kids are going to be kept in the coal mines, they can think again. Not while I breathe, they're not. And our kids count. And every man, woman, and child in this town better stand up for every child in this town. And I better see them standing up, because our kids count.
want to say, just to reiterate, if I haven't said before, what I'm doing is taking this information, our team's writing this down, so in about a week, we're going to put out a host of recommendations from this and some other discussions that I believe the recovery plan must include. And then I'll be meeting with legislators on both sides of the aisle, House and Senate, and I'll be meeting privately with the governor. My team will meet with this team and the Secretary of Education to let them know. And that will be available on our website as well, so everyone has a chance to see it. So next up, I want to hear from someone that supports that.
Hello, my name is Erin Harris, and I work for the Scranton School District, and I'm a para. I'm here 24 years, and I have concerns. And my concerns are that things are not going to continue in the way that they were. And I mean people misbehaving. I'm very concerned about that. I know a lot of other people here are concerned, and I want to know what we can do to stop it.
Walk me through, or just...
When you come in here for the recovery,
Yeah.
I would like it if you would come in and talk to the teachers and talk to the paras, and not necessarily, this is going to be frowned upon, but not necessarily go down to administration.
First of all, I don't know, I was speaks of two things. One, I don't know who the recovery officer will be.
Okay.
But I will tell you, if you want, I'm more than happy to come back and explain my recommendations of what I believe. So just I'm more than happy to do that, yes.
Yes.
I mean, I will share it with the administration as well, but I think everyone in this room, teachers, support staff, parents, students, all need to see it as well, as does the governor and the legislature. So, but yes, it's not going to be just the administration. And I'm more than happy to come back here and share it publicly and make the case for it. And if there's things that need to be improved on it, need to be in. I'm saying this, and my IT person will probably yell at me through the computer when I say this, but we need to figure out, teams, a way for people to comment on the plan via the website when we put it out there as well. So not everyone sometimes wants to say something in one of these type of forms. So if someone wants to make it confidential or just say who they are, but do it over the website, we'll figure out a way to make that possible.
Probably would have been better if you told me that a little bit while ago.
We all try to get a little better, so.
My name,
Well, let's get Jim Mike.
I probably don't need one. My name is Michelle Petratus. My husband is a teacher at Northeast. He's an SDS teacher. We live here in Scranton. My children both attend Scranton schools, and I own a business here in Scranton.
Other than that, you're not involved.
Not at all. One of my concerns is our board members are elected members. However, we don't have a stipulation of what they should have as knowledge prior to walking into the position. So we elect people who we think will do a good job, and they're uneducated sometimes in what they need to do. That is not a fault of theirs or anybody's. The system. Transparency has been mentioned several times. You're offering a great solution of us to be able to talk to you again in the future, and that is one of my concerns and one of my questions. If I have a concern or question, and I ask the board during meetings, there's never a response opportunity in any way, shape, or form. So if I ask or make a recommendation, I never hear a response ever back. And so for me, that's one of my frustrations. So Dr. Kirian institutes something, we never have an opportunity as parents or taxpayers to be able to refute and say, why are we doing this? I don't understand. For instance, Common Core is not my favorite at all. I would like to see that change, but I can tell that to anybody, and no one ever does anything or responds to it in any way. My husband was on the furlough list for a period of time last year. We didn't find out until 2 days before the end of the year whether or not he was going to be hired back again next year. Unfair as though that whole situation was, we pick it up and we can talk about whatever we wanted to. It all falls on deaf ears. No one ever responds. Help the board make better choices for all of us. How do we hold them accountable for mistakes? And the transparency really needs to start like flooding out. They hired that person illegally, and what do we do? How do I stand up and say, no, that's not acceptable?
There is not, I may ramble a little bit, but I'll try to make it. There were, when I say this, I'm going to try to be politically neutral on philosophy. There were a lot of people that ran for Congress last year that under any other year would have never dreamed of running. And a lot of them, even though they didn't have 3 nickels to their own checking account, somehow became entrenched in Congress. Because sometimes there's those moments where things just come right. Yeah. And whether it lasts forever or not, who knows, right? I'm just saying, like, but that happened. There were people that beat entrenched members of both parties in primary. That's right. So where I'm coming to is, whether it's whoever it may be, and I'm not here to campaign for or against anybody.
And I'm not really making a statement against the current board.
No, that's
I'm
right.
just.
But I think what I think does relate to last November is that we voted as a society like it was a presidential election. No. That has to change. Yeah. So the point is that regardless of who the board members are, if the community doesn't care, even if the board members are great, it's hard. So
How do we change that?
it starts by stuff like this. It starts by
Just the community that's here. There are teachers here, but I am so appalled that every single teacher's not.
But we don't know what's going. Somebody may be in a hospital. There could be a lot of things.
There's so many that aren't here though.
No, I know, but I never get into because I've been doing this. We don't know what happened. There may be something came up, whatever. But the point is, everybody here can have a coffee and invite 5 of your neighbors over and invite school board members and candidates to come talk to them. And that's to try to build support for an agenda more so than individual candidates.
It's just a better mentality.
But the way it happens is that every single person, not just here, but the city takes ownership of this, and they talk to 3 or 4 people because I know the voter turnout percentage in the presidential election, and I see it for school board, not just here, but across Pennsylvania, probably across the United States. That has to change. That has to change. So we're going to go back to a student, and we're going to keep working through it. That's not my rule. That's not a state law. That's not the Constitution. It's not the First Amendment. What's that?
How do we get answers?
Look, I can't force human beings to talk. If a school board member isn't answering you, then get that person out of office.
What happened? Come in and say, we're taking it's not working.
That is up to the question, because I want to come back to the student. For the state to make that decision, what would likely happen, because this is not my call, Secretary of Education. The recovery officer will put together a recovery plan. That's one of the things I'm talking about, and other people will weigh in on this. The school board has to approve the recovery plan. If they do not, it then becomes much more possible that the state takes over the district.
So I'm sorry, and I don't want to derail, so there's a recovery plan that is presented to the school board.
Yeah.
The school board says, yes, we're going to follow this recovery
Right.
plan. What is it accountable to follow that plan? And then if they don't follow the plan, the state say, you didn't follow the rules.
Yeah, so if they say yes and then still don't do it, that still leaves the door open for a state.
So the state's going to come in next 5 years.
Student, is there a student? Any more students? I know we only had a couple sign up. Teacher. Over parents next after teachers, support staff, and parents.
I'm a retired teacher. I began teaching in this district in 1959, so I'm a very old person. And I'm very sad to stand up here tonight and to be here tonight and to hear this discussion. Rosemary talked about we could go on a march. That's where I began. 1986. We took the entire state, because we didn't have the right to bargain. We just collectively begged. And then finally, after some of us went on strike, even though we didn't have the right to strike, we eventually got the right to strike. And for me to sit here now, 50-some years later, and hear the very same arguments that we fought for back in the 60s and early 70s, it is unbelievably sad to me because I've remained active. I'm going to retire one of these days from retirement. But I'm still working at this because my love is the Scranton School District. My love is public education. My love is getting the right things for teachers and students. Because what you do for teachers affects the students, and the students affect the teachers. You can't separate the two. The money part really bothers me. We had to beg for money. We got a $900 raise on our first strike, and a taxpayer brought a lawsuit against the school district for giving us the wages on an illegal strike. We had to go to the legislature for amnesty. And it was then that I found out. And I want every teacher in the room to know this. And if the teachers don't do anything about it, then who will? Every educational decision is a political decision. You get your job by 5 votes on the school board, and then what you teach and how you teach is decided by the Secretary of Education, who gets appointed by the governor. The governor is your they even vote on your death benefit. So and if every teacher isn't voting, that's when I really get upset. And if every teacher isn't fighting for this and becoming politically involved, and the lady before asked what you can do, what you all can do is vote and pay attention to the school board. People, they get all excited about the president, they get all excited about everything else, but nobody gets excited about school board members. They don't even pay attention to it. And then when it doesn't work, they say, oh, isn't this awful? And I'm tired of my property taxes. I've been fighting that property tax idea for 50 years. Somebody taught me a long time ago, money goes away, but property doesn't go away. And all those states that you see that are marching now, they don't have property taxes. Because the state is supposed to give you 50%, and the federal government is supposed to give you 25%. Then you wouldn't be paying these big property taxes. The federal government is not giving you 6%. The state is giving you something like 32 or 33%. Well, then where else are we going to get the money? We go to the property. And all the property people, and then how disingenuous people running for legislatures saying to these people, we'll get rid of your property taxes. What makes you think if they get rid of it, and then we get money from somewhere else, they're going to give it to you anyway? They don't give it to us now. So it is, if you really want to do something about it, you attend school board meetings, you make sure you get the right people on the board. And if they aren't doing what you want them to do, then, you know, vote them out of office. But everybody has to be involved in it. And it isn't easy. It's so sad because I've been doing this for 50 years and I'm tired. And I feel so badly when I hear people asking for the same things that we worked for all those years. And now I see those things that they didn't give us, you know, duty-free lunch. They didn't give us, you know, class size and those things because, you know, they liked us. They gave it to us, we fought for it. Everything we ever got in education, we fought for it. And And now, it's almost 60 years later, we're still fighting for the same things. But if you want to change it, you have to be an involved citizen. You have to do that. There's no other answer.
Next up, anyone from support staff? If not, want to hear, then we'll go to Aaron.
Hi, my name is Vivian Williams. I have 3 children in the district, who 2 of them have IEPs. One has just dyslexia, though one has autism. So I'm affected in multiple ways by the teachers and the support that we receive. My 4th grader came home today and her teacher was absent, who I absolutely adore. Kim Bird is phenomenal. But she was out and there was no sub. So the class got split up. So on top of the 25 kids that are already in a 4th grade classroom, there's now 6 more. So my daughter was in a class with 31 kids. My son, who has autism, like I said, is mainstreamed and integrated. Same thing happened in October. Kindergarten, 5 and 6-year-olds, first time in the school. Teacher was absent. They got split up between 2 classes. There were nearly 40 kids in a classroom. It scares me for my son's safety, for all of your children's safety. I'm very involved. I think some students think I work at my children's school. I don't. But the PTA supports our field trips. I wish we could do so much more with field trips, but busing is a huge component of it. There are so many places that would give us free trips to different theaters, different opportunities, but because we cannot get a bus without a $250 to $500 bill, our students get 1 field trip a year, and it's not even to anywhere that would open up their eyes. You know, there's so many local places that we can take them that we are just limited to, and we can't support them with that. I just feel that it's the staff that suffers, and it's like they said, I've been there many times that I've seen a teacher in the school go out and buy a coat for a student. I've seen shoes come in. I've seen a teacher text me and ask me if I could pick something up at a nonprofit I work at for students. Our teachers care about our students, and it is a community. I know half of our teachers in our school, their children go to that school. So not only is it their source of income, but it's teaching their children as well.
Mr. D. Pasquale, first off, I want to say thank you very much for having this forum tonight. My name is Paul Duffy. I am the father of a 3rd grade student at Prescott Elementary. I'm also on the Scranton School Board. I was conflicted about whether to come here tonight because I wasn't sure what I was going to hear. I have to be honest, although it's been harsh and critical at times, it's all important and it's all very good. There are 2 things that I wanted to speak to specifically. One thing that I think has been glossed over slightly, however, what our district receives through the fair funding formula, what you talked about originally in the very beginning, is absolutely insanely infinitesimal compared to what everyone else gets. Every district in the state that has over 7,000 kids in it, which I believe is about 55 to 60, get funded at a level different than we do. They get funded at a level higher than we do. It's the biggest problem. I've heard a lot of people talk tonight about how our people are coming into our district. Other districts like Erie, Chester, Upland, Westmoreland, they all have gotten extra monies from the state, so have we. One thing that I do like to hear is they did get extra money. What none of those districts were having was an increase in population. We have people pouring into our district.
Increase into the school age.
Into the school age population. In 1 quarter, we've risen over 100 students. Ms. Wolin spoke about a person that speaks Swahili. In my 3rd grade class, my son sits with a child who speaks Swahili, and the only reason he's in that class, he doesn't live in the district, but the child next to him also speaks Swahili. The fastest growing population in our district right now is the Nepalese community and the Indian community. They are severely unrepresented. They have kids that are 3 to 17, and we can't keep up with it. There's no way that we could afford to have one less teacher in any classroom. There's no way that I would ever vote to reduce any teachers. I already did. And you know what you know what else I have to do? I have to go to school and I have to pick my son up every day. I have to look at those teachers in the face, knowing what I did. I was a police officer for 15 years. I was laid off myself. When my wife was 7 months pregnant with the son that currently goes to that school, it was the most difficult thing I ever had to do. And I'll give you at least some solace. I'm never going to run for this position again. That being said, I don't think you'd be clapping as much if you knew how much I truly cared, how much that this means to me, how much that every kid in this district means to me. I thank you so much for having this tonight. I thank everybody, and I'm very sorry that we couldn't have more of it. So thank you very much. The last thing I wanted to bring up was, you did mention something in the Scranton Times a few weeks back about mental health and it being brought to the forefront, and it was written in the Scranton Times. That's something that we have been working on. It's something that I think I've started, along with many other board members, to have a conversation with a local group that has been in the area for a long time, the Lewis Russell Foundation, and they deal with suicide and mental health issues. It's a big district, and unfortunately these things do happen in our district. So I'd like to know if there's anything that I can do or we can do as a board to positively affect that. And thank you again for your time. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
First of all, thank you for your service as a police officer. And I know it's probably been somewhat rough to hear some of the stuff tonight, but I just want to say, as someone that's been an elected official, and I'm not asking you to agree with anything he's done, but you're here tonight, you heard the music, and you got up and spoke, so thank you for doing that. I don't think any more students signed up, so is there a teacher that wants to speak? Well, we're going to hear here. We'll go vote.
Scranton School District. And just a couple of things that I wanted to comment on. They talked about looking for other ways for funding, and I think, you had mentioned it, some other people had mentioned it, is now there's that complete mistrust. And it's like when you find out you've been donating money to a charity, and then the report comes out and you find that only 1% of the money that's been donated has actually gotten to the people that it needs to go to. So I think we've got a lot of work to do with our community because there is no trust. There's no trust from the educators, we don't trust the board, we don't trust the administrators, and probably vice versa. So there's a lot of work there. The one thing that I think has me the most upset is teaching in this district for over 15 years, is that in the last 5-6 years, when all of these things have really come to the surface, the one thing that hasn't changed has been what's been given to our students. In the last six years or so, or longer, we are taking everything away, aside from the music, aside from the library. Every day I look at my 27 kids in a class or 30 kids in the class, and I think they've gotten nothing more than what I can personally give them. And I hope that I do thank the school board members who are here, for listening. I don't know if any of the administrators are here that are listening. We're not just trying to be greedy, but I am saying, I look at these kids and I think there is nothing else that this district has been able to provide to you besides what I, as a teacher, can give to you. We know the population is changing. It's a huge issue. We don't have money for planners. We're nickel and diming the budget where we're cutting $500 here, $1,000 here, and in the grand scheme of the millions of dollars that we're behind, we're taking those little things that were helping the students, we've taken them away from them. We have no ability to help them after school with any special tutoring. We have all the languages. Can't get in touch with some of the parents because we don't have money for people to translate to call home if the parents don't speak English. So we're trying to do our jobs. Again, the money may come in, and that's great that we're trying to get more funding. But as people have said before, how are we going to guarantee that this money gets to our students and the help that they need and all of that other things? Because there's no trust. There's absolutely no trust. I think that's the biggest thing right now that we have to overcome.
I'm going to do everything I can to try to make sure that happens. No guarantee. I know we are out of time. We've got one more speaker over here. So let me say this before we go. We're out of time. The people can go to par.gov and submit them, because I know it's 8 o'clock at the time we're done. But we have one more lady over here that wanted to say.
My name is Courtney Novak. I am a parent, a teacher, and a taxpayer as well. One thing that I've heard over the last few months, especially after the audits and everything, is everybody can't wait for the state to come in. Not everybody sitting here in this room, but it's been a common comment in the newspaper and everything else. Our kids have lost a lot. I am a first grader, I am a fourth grader. They have lost a lot. If you look at the history of when the state comes in to take over, they're going to lose a lot more. What everybody needs to start questioning is when the state is going to start barely funding our district. We're currently approximately $2,000 per pupil underfunded. That's $20 million. If you do the math, we would not be in the position we are at. The answer is not for the state to come in and take over. Do I agree that somebody needs to come in to help oversee those additional funds until trust is built back up? Absolutely. But until we get the funding that our students deserve, we're never going to get out of this mess.
Everyone, thank you for your time. Again, for those that didn't get a chance to say something, want to, PAAuditor.gov, and we'll be back to talk about at least 5 recommendations.